My name is Vered, Vered.
Got this rally here going. We got the marching band here. Everybody's going crazy today about this anti-Semitism. We're marching to end hate and specifically anti-Semitism, not just hate in general.
Why do you think there's been a recent rise in anti-Semitic attacks and crimes?
In New York City?
Yeah,
One word. De Blasio.
de Blasio.
The schmuck.
We're here with a rabbi from Simchat Lev, apparently. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
So I think that the most important thing is Am Yisrael Chai, that we're all Jews, we're all one. We need to love each other. We need to show the world that we're all one. It doesn't matter what movement or what flavor of Judaism, that we are one people and that no bully is going to stop us.
Why do you think now, this time specifically, that there's been such a recent rise in anti-Semitism? Hate crimes are going off the charts, specifically in New York also. Is there anything you can kind of point us to, maybe?
You can go to the White House, and perhaps it started there. I think that the level of uncertainty in our world and the level of hate in our world is funneled down to here. And I think that we Jews have been targeted before, and once again we're targeted. I think that all Jews need to stand together and be together and be proud, and I think that the biggest message about Judaism is Judaism fueled by love.
Yes, I am a shiksa against hate. I'm married to a nice Jewish boy.
Great. So tell me, what brings you to the rally today?
Well, I don't agree with hate in any way, and I just believe that it needs to stop, the anti-Semitism, and it's been pretty scary raising two boys. It's funny, my boys aren't official Jews, but they consider themselves Jews, and so as you think about things like that, it becomes, you have to fight for it.
Very true. And why do you think there's been a rise recently in anti-Semitic attacks?
Because we have an asshole for a president.
Well, my parents wanted me to go to the rally with them. With all the anti-Semitic attacks recently, it's really important to be here, and I'm really impressed with the turnout, actually.
Why is it exactly you think that now that there's been a specific uptick in anti-Semitism, and maybe why specifically New York? Now we're seeing New York as being like kind of where the center of all this anti-Semitism is. Like, why do you think maybe that is?
So I don't know what exactly caused it from the get-go, but in regards to New York, it's probably because there's so many Jews here. Like, outside of Israel, we have the highest population of Jews anywhere in the world. So I can see why it's happening here in New York specifically, but as to why it's been going on, it started in Hanukkah. It's been going on for a long time. I guess people are just, people aren't caring as much about the Jews lately as they used to, and I think that's why people are getting away with these attacks more often.
I guess politically speaking, do you think there's anything like any sort of political responsibility? Like, some people are blaming people in Washington, some people are blaming those on the left, the right, something it's a combination of both. Do you have anything to say maybe about that?
It's got nothing to do with Washington. Like, people who blame anyone in like Trump or anyone in the Trump administration or any representative, like that's just a load of crap. Like, it's not their fault. It goes back to like local municipalities. Those are the people who really need to step up and act. Like mayors, senators. They're the ones that really need to step it up. It's not Trump's fault.
Do you think Bernie Sanders is going to do a lot to stop anti-Semitism?
Well, let's put it this way. I voted for him for many reasons. I don't know if he will do that, but he should, because he is Jewish, correct?
Yeah.
So therefore he should do it, don't you think?
Yeah.
But I'm voting for him because I'm 70 years young, and I started on Wall Street back in '69, and I know how people like Michael Bloomberg made his money through fraud.
So you're here specifically just to kind of promote Bernie Shlomo Sanders here at this rally? Are you doing anything specifically for like anti-Semitism?
I give him a monthly funds towards his campaign. Every month comes out of my out of my checking account. It's automatic. And this, I don't come out here every day, but this is one where I'm really, actually, it's for the haters. Being a black person, I wish there were more of my race of people out here to go ahead and promote, love instead of hate.
Do you think Donald J. Trump's been promoting more hate, do you think, than Bernie Shlomo Sanders?
Isn't it obvious that Donald Trump, he's a divider. He divides people. He's not trying to go ahead and more or less bring everyone together. Isn't it obvious? He divides people.
Yeah, thank you so much for showing your support. We really appreciate it. Shalom, shalom.
Who are you for?
We're from Big Jelly Television, Big Jelly TV on YouTube. We saw you were getting a lot of crap before from a lot of people going on here. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
It wasn't a lot of people, first of all. The ratio of those who supported me versus detractors was like 15-1. It was some psychotic old man and his 10-year-old son who were spitting and crying and whining and throwing baseless accusations. So I threw them right back at them. That's all you have to do with leftists. They have no arguments, so they resort to ad hominem, they resort to lies, they resort to projection. He was calling me racist for wearing this hat. Period. I'm automatically racist for wearing this hat. But he's not racist for pulling a black cop in and saying that I hate the black cop.
What do you think is your solutions to anti-Semitism? Is there anything that you think what's the message that you guys are arguing? I hear you were giving a Kahana point of view or something along those lines. Tell us about that.
Well, I definitely support Mayor Kahane, but my answer to anti-Semitism is genuine solidarity. This march is great, but it's platitudinal. It's these signs that say "Love thy neighbor." Who's being attacked disproportionately? Jews. 3 Jews were murdered by a black supremacist in New Jersey. Another 72-year-old Jew is in critical condition because he was hacked by a machete by a gigantic black guy who also was a neo-Nazi, apparently. So why do these signs not say solidarity with Jews against racism against Jews? Why is it always equivocation and making all things equal when it comes to Jews? I'm sure that if somebody else of another race was being murdered, it would be all about that particular race, not about, we hate hatred in general. So my answer to combating anti-Semitism is solidarity and being more forcefully, openly, and aggressively Jewish.
So how do you think Trump's been doing with what you mentioned? Has he been calling out specifically anti-Semitism? Do you think he could do more? Are you satisfied with it?
Well, Trump just enacted including Jews in Title IX, which makes racism and discrimination against Jews a federal crime, or I'm not sure the details exactly. But all of this anti-Israelism, being anti-Israel, first of all, is anti-Semitism. Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Let there be no doubt about that. But I think that he's been doing an incredible job. I think that he openly condemns neo-Nazism, just as he openly condemns fascism on the left, which is far more vociferous, far more prevalent, and I think far more virulent than white nationalism and white neo-Nazism. And Jews are persona non grata for neo-Nazis. Taliban Tlaib, as I like to call her, came out after a black supremacist killed Jews and said white supremacy kills. This summarizes them entirely. She is white, first of all, but this really is the crux of their argument. They don't care about racism against Jews. They care about crying about invented white supremacy and sticking it wherever it doesn't belong.
Here with Dov Hikind, legendary Jewish figure in Brooklyn. Dov, what is the uptick in anti-Semitism in New York City? Why is that?
Look, that's not a simple answer, but when there is a problem of anti-Semitism and you don't deal with it and you let it fester, and that's exactly what's happened, especially in New York over the past year. Over the past year, anti-Semitism has been growing, numbers are unprecedented, and the leaders that didn't do anything. They really didn't address it. They would condemn it, but there was no plan of action. Now, with what has happened in Jersey City, what happened in Muncie, now the Jews are being murdered and Jews are being stabbed, and suddenly some people have awoken. They're awake. But you've got to deal with the reality of what's going on. Who's committing most of these acts? And your question is something that needs to be explored. Why? Why is there so much hate directed against someone who's a Jew? Plain and simple. Because I'm a Jew, I'm a victim. Why? What's going on? And unfortunately, that has not really been addressed appropriately. Hopefully, something better will happen now. Hopefully, the crowds that are here, and I'm looking around here. I hope we'll see a lot of not just Jews, but other communities, other people out as well, because that is very, very important. I want to see the black community. I want to see the Latino community. So far, I don't see very much, but that's what I want to see. We all have
I wanted
to
to ask you,
together.
what about the Hasidic community? Who have been victims of primary victims of these anti-Semitic attacks? How come the Jews from Brooklyn are not here, like from Williamsburg, from Crown Heights, from Muncie here?
Well, first of all, maybe they will be here, but you know, those Jews spoke a couple of days ago at the Siyum Hashas.
Yeah.
You know, they had 93,000 Jews who stood together and said, "We are Jews and we are proud." So they may have had more Jews in that stadium than we may have all day here today, and that's beautiful. Look, I'd like to see everybody here, of course. Today, there are no different political points of view.
We're all on the same team.
Today, we are together, standing as one against anti-Semitism and hate. One standard when it comes to hate and anti-Semitism. Right, left, center, it shouldn't matter. And in particular, within our own, you know, we got to look in the mirror sometimes here in New York and say, where's it coming from and what are we dealing with it?
Do you think anti-Semitism has become politicized? In other words, from one side, like a guy like Farrakhan won't be condemned?
There's no question about it. Of course. When leaders here in New York blame the President of the United States for what's happening here in New York, that's totally ridiculous and outrageous. It's absurd. Absolutely absurd, and it's an excuse not to do anything. So that is, and also it takes away. Look, we've got a serious problem. When people talk to me and say, is this like what happened in pre-Nazi Germany? We're in trouble. When people say that, and people have been saying it to me, a Jew that I met last week at a school, a breakfast, at one of the finest schools in Lawrence, a father came over to me and said, you know, I work in Manhattan for 15 years, always wear a yarmulke. And he said to me, yesterday was the first time in my life I took my yarmulke off when I went to Manhattan because I was afraid. Does that tell you everything? A father, religious, kids go to yeshiva. I took off my yarmulke for the first time because I'm afraid.
It's crazy, especially in America.
America, New York.
Especially also in the synagogues. We come from the Sephardic community, and like our synagogues are turning into fortresses. Like it's
Look, I saw the on Ocean Parkway.
Shari Tzion?
Yeah,
it's like a fortress.
You know, I saw a New York City police officer and I saw 2 state troopers. So on the one hand, you know, we're getting protection. On the other hand, oh my God.
It's like Europe.
What happened? What happened?
It's crazy.
It's not going to last long, but that's another story.
Awesome. Thank you for coming out here, Dov. It's great to see you. I'll see you Pomegranate, man.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Pleasure.
Just tell us your name and why you're here.
Becky Mehtizadeh. I'm here to support, to help fight anti-Semitism.
Yes, like why do you think maybe now specifically that there's been such an uptick in anti-Semitism here in New York, throughout the world in general? Like, why do you think that is?
There always has been, but lately it's been really bad, and it's just time to speak up and fight anti-Semitism and fight the violence against Jews. It's just time to speak up. Enough is enough.
On the political sphere, we've spoken to some people. Some people want to hold Washington accountable. Some say it has to do with Trump. Others say people on the left. Do you have anything maybe to say about, like, I guess, who to hold politically responsible, any sort of legislation that needs to be enacted, something along those lines?
Everyone. There's not enough people on the political scale speaking up. We need more of them to speak up, you know, come up to these crowds, hold more, I don't know how to say it, rallies like this. We need people in the politics to come down and support Israel, the Jewish community.
Do you think the mayor personally has also been doing some stuff to kind of prevent anti-Semitism, or are you not satisfied with it?
He's not doing anything. I don't think a lot of us are satisfied with what he's doing. He's just not doing anything. From my view, he's not. I could be, but that's my view. I think he needs to step up a lot.
Were there any specific instances in Great Neck and Young Israel, any I don't know, upticks in security now that have been made as a result, or any sort of incidences of anti-Semitism that occurred there?
Not yet, thank God. It's not going to happen.
So what do you think now recently, why has there been such a recent uptick in anti-Semitism? Like, this is a very maybe random time, some people say. Is there any specific reasons any of you guys think it's been at a very high rate recently?
Because of what's happening in Washington and the leader in Washington who speaks about hate. And he doesn't speak about it by saying it outright, but he speaks about hate. And he's always being about himself. He's not about his community. We are all here about our community.
Do you think there's anything also from like the left-wing side of the aisle, or do you think this is something more to be, I guess, blamed or the right?
Be one nation. One nation.
And how about you?
Yes, we're not getting a very good message from Washington. And we're here in solidarity. We can't let this continue. If it is a trend, we have to stop it now.
I'm from China, southern China, southwest China originally.
Wow. Is there a large Jewish community there?
No.
Uh-huh. Have you ever experienced, since you're from China, have you ever experienced any anti-Semitism when you were over there?
Actually, when I was there, no. But in the Chinese community here, unfortunately, very unfortunately, not very often, but unfortunately a few times.
Wow. Why do you think that is? Why do you think maybe in China? Why do you think maybe in the United States? Why is it growing a lot these days now?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer. What do you think we as Jews should be doing? You have any suggestions that what the Jewish people should be doing to respond to this?
We should definitely take action, and we should not be overwhelmed. There's a lot of the emotions, highness, fear, but we should not be overwhelmed with that. And as we act, we should act from love and courage.
My name is Vered, Vered.
Firstly, Vered, why do you think that recently in this specific time that anti-Semitism rose a lot? Why are there so many crimes now recently, and why maybe specifically in New York?
Well, it's not specifically in New York. It's in Europe too. It's been there for 3,000 years, and we had to fight it all the way. Now, I don't like this sign, no hate, no fear, because it's bullshit. Nobody have a sign saying it's against anti-Semites. Not no hate, no fear. It's bullshit. We are standing here because they're starting again to come out. They raise their hand. All those anti-Semites now feel the right to come and attack us. So I want to have fists and have signs. No anti-Semites.
Do you think the mayor of New York City has done enough to kind of combat anti-Semitism, to do stuff against it, to try to prevent it from occurring again?
I think the fact that now they're so lenient with the courts, and you don't have to have many criminals. I think that we don't do enough to curb hate crimes, and it shouldn't have his head lifted.
You're cold, I know, man. The cold does not care about your feelings, my friend. No, it doesn't. It doesn't stop the Jew. The cold might be anti-Semitic, man. No, we're joking. Rabbi Kahana, was she right? After all these years, man.
He was right then, and he's right now.
Rabbi Harav Kahana Tzadak. That's what they always say. Right.
Absolutely, he was right.
Tell us what's so important about coming out here today, sir.
We have to show unity, even though there's so much division in our community right now. Half the people are coming up to me and giving me the thumbs up, and half the people are telling me to leave.
Why leave? Because you're Kahanis, you're a Jew just like everybody else here, man.
Well, because he believed that we should defend ourselves. Some people think we should crawl up in a ball and hide. It's not going to happen.
If Rabbi Kahana, God rest his soul, would be here today, do you think you'd be participating in this march?
Absolutely. He'd be standing right next to me.
What do you expect this rally to happen?
I think it's going to get some attention and hopefully start to create some unity. We could have differences in our political beliefs, but we all have the same Jewish soul.